Let me ask you a question. What's the point of building a business if you're just going to lose yourself in the process? I need you to remember that you are a portal, and every healing you hold for yourself ripples into your family, into your clients, into your team, into your community. And here is a truth. You can only lead others as far as you've led yourself. So, this week's Wellness Wednesday is very much inspired by the wellness and spiritual visionary, the healer archetype. But even if you don't call yourself a healer, it's okay. Just stay with me because in reality, every visionary is a healer in some kind of a way. Entrepreneurial visionaries, they heal broken systems. Executive and corporate visionaries, they heal broken leadership. Creative and cultural visionaries heal broken culture. The thought leader and educator visionary, they heal broken thinking. And the social and political visionary heal broken justice. They challenge inequalities, they shift policies, and they help heal the collective by creating fairer structures for everyone. And so the question isn't whether you're a healer. The question is, how are you protecting your own wholeness when you do the work? Because your legacy doesn't come from what you build, it comes from how whole you remain while building it, right? It's really great to create things to leave behind for others. At the same time, if the lesson to others is you had to lose yourself, you had to sacrifice your wholeness in order to build this, I'm not sure if that's the message you want attached. I don't know if that's the meaning you want attached to the beauty of building legacy. And so in this video, very much inspired by, again, the wellness spiritual visionary for many reasons. Now, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, again, I have all these creative ideas. There are things I need to do. There are things I need to delegate. And then there are moments where I need to go away and rejuvenate and renew myself and expand my mind into new ways of thinking and also reflect. Also reflect on how my actions, my daily actions are aligned with my bigger vision, my bigger goal. And so I was so grateful this weekend to not only handle business, shooting some content, going over some things with my other business owner friends and associates, but also spending some much needed time with family, having deep, insightful, reflective conversations about my wholeness and new ways that I can continue this journey of transformation in my personal life and in my business. So this brings us to the next section that I want to talk about, or the first concept, which is the 5 stages of transformation. Okay. Now, transformation isn't overnight. It is a process. And if you don't understand the stages, you'll think you're failing when you're really just moving to the next level. Okay. So I want to go over this with you and give you some examples of what that looks like. All right. So 5 stages of transformation. And the first one we're going to talk about are your blind spots. You don't know what you don't know. So in life, you may not realize that, for instance, you're always saying yes because you're afraid to disappoint. And in business, you may not realize you are underpricing your services and you think working harder will fix it. You think working harder will get you more clients when really, maybe the way you have it priced is turning your desired target audience off, right? Okay, so that's just one example of blind spots. There are many, and maybe in our private circles we can go over them. The second stage is awareness. So, as you become exposed to your blind spots, you start to see it, and then you start to develop reflection. You start to reflect, you start to develop meaning behind those blind spots, right? So, in this awareness stage, for instance, you may start to realize in your personal life, you've been neglecting your health, right? And then on your business journey, you notice that your time is filled with admin tasks and not CEO work. Okay. That is the second stage. So again, the First stage, blind spots. The second stage is awareness. The third stage, and we've talked about this before, is this beautiful combination of shedding and molting. So, this is all about letting go of what doesn't serve you. So, in life, it could be just leaving a toxic relationship, personal, family, business, right? Well, personal, family for your personal life. And then in business, this could be ending contracts with draining clients. I want to tell y'all something. I have fired clients before. When I find myself fighting harder for you than you're willing to fight for yourself, I will fire you. When I realize that you have a hidden force, which we'll go into the next one, to be disagreeable versus being open to new ways of thinking and new ways of being and new ways of doing, I will fire you. If I've been working with you for a certain amount of time and there is absolutely no changes, I will fire you because maybe I'm not the one who's meant to serve you. Maybe I'm not the one that's going to take you to the next level. So I don't want to drain my energy. I don't want to waste our time. And I want your resources invested in the right paths that's going to get you the results. Okay. So shedding and molting, a super important phase. The fourth phase of transformation is integration. So this is building consistency around the new you. So again, you have discovered the blind spots. And because you discovered the blind spots, you've become aware of how that's affected you in your personal life and in your business journey, right? So after you've become aware of the results, why they are the way they are, after you've become aware of the impact of the effect, you then start doing the necessary actions to clear in order to make room for what's meant, in order to expand your capacity to receive your next level of success, your next level of abundance. And so now you've done, you become aware, you've shed. Now there's this new becoming. There's this expanded becoming. And so now that there's this new becoming, what does life look like now? Because it can't the surrounding can't stay the same because that was for the old you. You've become this new you, this new version of yourself, this higher, more improved version of yourself, right? So now we have to integrate this into life now. We have to integrate this new you into the present moment. And so in life, this is taking a look at your daily movement, right? This could be okay as you're processing this new change, you start to journal more. Um, you realize that the old you was satisfied with just going, going, going and getting minimal sleep, but now it's like, no, because I need good sleep, right? And you become aware that work is still in rest because you're rejuvenating, you're reflecting, you're getting new downloads and epiphanies, right? And then in business, when we talk about integration, you've become aware of all these things. So now you're more clear about the systems that you need to implement. You're even clear about the old systems you were using, and it served its purpose for that time. And now you're even more clear, like, I need to start implementing something new, right? You've become more aware of how to integrate better boundaries. You've become more aware of how to integrate team roles into your new level of expansion. You are more aware of how to integrate this new version of yourself with the world around you, with the tasks that you need to do, with the people that you need to meet, with the new insight you need to have, right? So as you're becoming the same way you were living through life, living in your business, existing, doing, right? That fit the mold of who you were. And now you're in a new mold. So how do you integrate this into this next level of life, right? That's the fourth stage. The fifth stage is trust, right? Because when we're going through these stages, it's helping us become more aligned. And if this is your first time watching one of my videos, This may be the first time you've heard it, and if not, you've heard me say this before. It is so important to operate from wholeness and not hustle. It is so important to operate from purpose and not performance. Okay. So when you're going through these stages, you're becoming more aligned, and then you're naturally magnetizing and choosing what's for you, what is going to be more beneficial, what is going to be of high priority, where your time and resources and attention and your energy is best invested. Okay, so when you trust, you finally surrender, you finally submit, right? Because you're operating with the right formula. So what could go wrong? What could go wrong? It happens for you, not to you. So, trusting looks like in life believing that your new habits will hold you, your new ways of thinking, your new behavioral patterns. It will hold you. In business, it looks like trusting the systems that you've implemented, trusting that the tasks you've delegated to other people will get done. Trusting that scaling isn't scary, it's exciting. Trusting that even in the challenges that come up or the questions that may arise in your journey of scaling, there's no fear. It's a level of groundedness and confidence and assurance, right? So these five stages of transformation are important for us to always take note of because throughout life, we're always in one of them, or maybe some are happening at the same time. So, what stage are you in right now in life and in business? Are you still discovering your blind spots? Do you know that there's something, I'm just not getting something? Clearly, there's a blind spot. Have you discovered the blind spots and you're sitting in this space of becoming more aware of how it's affected you and your business? And I will say with the stage of awareness, there can be a little bit of anger and some feelings that come up that don't feel pleasant, but it's okay because the feeling fuels the change. The feeling fuels the forward movement. All right. Are you in shedding and molting? Are you in integration? Are you now in trust? And again, you can be in different areas based on, are we talking about life? Are we talking about business? You could be becoming more aware of blind spots in business, but you are shedding and molting in life. You could be becoming more aware in, life, but you are trusting in business, right? So just tap in. What stage are you in right now in life and in business? And wherever you are is okay. Okay. Now, in the stages of transformation, you may discover some hidden forces. Okay. Especially as we get into some personal or group coaching or just some exploration, these hidden forces are something serious to consider. Okay, so I call these the four hidden forces that pull you off vision. So even when we know the process to do things, right, to get things done, even if someone said, you know what, here is the blueprint from A to Z to scale your business and make $1 million in the next 30 days, right? There are hidden forces, okay, that can pull us off course. And sometimes we feel it, we experience it, but we don't know how to put a name to it, right? So therefore, it can be a challenge to address it if we're not able to name it. And if we're not able to name it and then we can't address it, these hidden forces can run your life. It can run your business. So let's get into it, okay? The four hidden forces. The first one I want to talk about is unspoken drivers. In a nutshell, unspoken drivers are hidden motives. These are subconscious motives that steer your actions. So for example, in life, there could be a hidden motive or an unconscious driver of I want to work out to prove to this person that, look, I'm gonna get my snap back together, or, I want to prove to these people that, I can lose weight, I can look good, all the things, whatever you want to do, right? However you want to say it. The unspoken driver is working out to prove someone wrong instead of just honoring yourself. Working out is great, but what is the intention behind it? Is it to prove somebody wrong? And then once you prove them wrong, will you stop working out because that was your unspoken driver? Or is it to just really honor yourself? In business, right? Is it, just chasing money to prove you're not a failure? One unspoken driver that many of us that comes up is, because you've experienced a certain kind of way that the family you grew up in was living, um you are so determined to not be that, right? So that unspoken driver is, let me not be like them, instead of let me just be the highest and best version of myself. Okay. So unspoken drivers are really something serious to look at. All right. So that is the first hidden force, unspoken drivers. The second hidden force is invisible agreements. And these are promises you made without realizing it. These are subtle pacts you've made with yourself and or others. Now, what does that look like? For example, an invisible agreement can be, but based on whatever you've been through, I'll never depend on anyone. So you carry everything alone. Okay. So you've made this invisible agreement with yourself to never depend on anyone. And then you wonder why you carry everything alone. In business, again, going back to that first example, an invisible agreement is, again, I'll never struggle like this person. I'll never struggle like that person. So you hustle in chaos without building systems. Your main agreement is, I just don't want to struggle. And so instead of saying, systems help me perform my business better, you're just so focused on not struggling, you're just going to do any and everything to just avoid the feeling of struggling, even if it's costing you your health, your mental, emotional health, even if it's costing you rest, right? So that's number two, invisible agreements. What are the subtle pacts you made with yourself or others? And these have so many examples, and I can't wait to explore these with you all. But again, some of us don't even recognize these invisible agreements. Number three, shadow commitments. Okay. So, shadow commitments are what you protect more than your actual stated goals. These are things that you unconsciously prioritize above what you stated is your goal. So, for instance, you in life, shadow commitment can look like, I will never face rejection again, right? But then you're wondering why, your journey in personal relationships and love is non-existent, because you're a fear, you want a relationship though. You do want love. You're wondering why, oh my gosh, how come I'm not, experiencing this kind of relationship, or, whatever. But your priority isn't becoming the person that you want to attract. It isn't becoming the person that your person will want to engage with or spend their life with. Your priority is just not getting rejected. So, what does that look like when you are subconsciously moving through the world, repelling because even though you say you want to experience love, but you're walking in the essence of, I don't want to be rejected. In business, what does this look like? This means, you know what? I want to up level my prices, and oh my gosh, I have this great offer that I want to get out into the world, but your priority is remaining comfortable because growth is uncomfortable. So you want the growth, you just don't want the uncomfortability that comes with it. So instead of making that bold offer, You remain in your same pattern, in your same state of being because you are protecting your comfort zone. So you are committed. You boldly state, I want to make this beautiful offer. I want to scale my business this way. But the shadow commitment is I want to remain comfortable. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I want to grow. I want to scale, but I want to be comfortable while doing it. But the reality is growth just isn't comfortable. All right. So again, hidden forces, unspoken drivers, subconscious motives that steer your actions, invisible agreements. These are subtle pacts you've made with yourself or others. These are promises you've made without realizing it. We have shadow commitments, what you protect more than your actual stated goals. Things you unconsciously prioritize above your stated goals. And then number four, competing priorities. These are daily actions that don't match your bigger vision. So some of us are going through life doing daily actions that don't align with our bigger goals. So in life, you're saying, I need rest. My priority is rest. But you keep overscheduling yourself. You keep you keep being too accessible. All right? In business, this can say again, you could say this could look like, I want to scale. I want to scale. This means I need more revenue coming in. This means I need a bigger team in which I have to pay them. I want to scale. I need mentorship. I need guidance. I need a consultant in which you have to pay them. But you fill your time with $10 an hour tasks. You fill your time with tasks that don't result in more revenue. Your tasks are filled with things that just bring you more emails, more questions, you know? Just an example, right? So take some time to reflect which of these hidden forces show up most for you right now. Are your priorities competing? Have you made shadow commitments? Do you have invisible agreements and are you aware of your unspoken drivers? All right. Whew. Mm. And I have went through it. I do my check-ins to make sure, okay, do I have any of these going on? What's going on in the shadows? What's going on in the unseen? Okay, something isn't this thing that I want to happen in this reality isn't actualizing itself. So where am I disconnected from myself? Where is my stated vision and goals and agreements and commitments? Are they disconnected or in alignment with my subconscious ones? All right. Now, as always, we talk about concepts and the possibilities. And as always, I love to leave you with practical exercises. So this coaching tool is the Lifeline exercise. Okay. So I want us to ground this into an action. Okay. And I'll kind of explain what it is. And I'll leave an example like a sheet or something. So all along our journey, we all experience ups and downs, okay? And often there are patterns in how we respond to these situations. And the lifeline creates a visual representation of your highs and lows, all right? So again, some of us are, we learn just best by hearing, we learn best by experiencing. Some of us have to do, some of us have to see, right? So this is a visual representation of your highs and lows, both personal and professional, so that you can see how transformation and healing and growth and setbacks and celebrations shape your legacy, shape how you're moving in the world. So the first instruction is to take a sheet of paper. We're going to put it landscape, okay? And we're going to draw a horizontal line across. And like I said, leave you an example. And then that horizontal axis is your age in years, in 5 year increments. So age 5, 10, 15, 20, all the way up to where you are right now. Okay. So then we're going to have a vertical axis that's called fulfillment and happiness. Now, fulfillment is your highs, right? The low, of course, is the pains, and then you can take pens, pencils, well, hopefully a different color, right? But if not, it's fine. Just do the best you can. But you're going to have these different lines that represent your personal life and your professional or business life. And if you do have different colored pens, um, one color is your personal, one color is your professional. All right. So in 10 minutes, don't think. Just mark your highs and lows, right? Don't overthink, just sketch it out, right? And what you're marking is the age range of those highs and lows and really reflecting on the experiences around them. And I promise you, this is for a reason. I want to be very clear. I don't revisit the past because the past no longer exists. The past is complete. It does not exist. The only reason why we reflect on certain experiences is to see how and if we are carrying them into the present. Because some of us are dragging our past along with us in this present moment right now, and then we're trying to shape this future, right? But we keep dragging the past. So as you are mapping out your lifeline, what themes or patterns do you see? And again, in our group coaching, even if you decide to do one-on-one, we could really immerse ourselves in this because it may still be a blind spot. Okay. So, what themes and patterns do you see? Then the second question is, where did personal healing ripple into your life breakthrough or business breakthroughs? Are you aware of that? When you started improving yourself, do you see how your life and business improved? If not, okay, we got to explore that, right? The next question is, what low points taught you lessons and now you bring those lessons into your leadership? Are you able to decipher that? What low points taught you lessons you now bring into your current leadership? And these could be lessons that help you in your leadership or lessons, things that you think are lessons, right? When they could be hindrances or blockages or belief systems that don't serve you. And it's hindering how you're showing up in leadership. The other things I want you to reflect on is at the high points, what made them possible? Like whatever that high point was, what made it a high point? Distinguish that. And it's all for a reason, right? At the low points, when you experience low points, and we don't have to get into what made it a low point, because one thing about me being a student and teacher of energy is I'm very mindful of what happens as you revisit things. And so because of how the body responds, how the your neurological system rewires itself during certain reflections, I want you to focus more on the high points and what made them high points. When it comes to the low points, just focus on what helped you recover. What helped you recover, right? Because we can carry the recovery methods into the present, but we don't want to carry the pain into the present, which is some of the reason why these unspoken drivers exist, these hidden forces exist. Okay. So, for example, let's just say at 18 years old, you have a personal line that peaks. For some of us, you graduated high school, you're excited, you're full of possibility. And then on the professional level, though, the line is flat because you're just discovering yourself. You don't have a career yet, right? So maybe at 18, it was just all about getting to know who you are. You had no idea what you wanted to do, who you wanted to be, what business you wanted to start, what career you wanted to go into, what industry. So the main high point is just things personally, right? Now, at 25, maybe at this point, you've lived some years, you got a job, maybe you went to college and graduated. And so at 25, maybe your personal life takes a dip, right? Because around that time you're dating, maybe you had some heartbreaks, maybe you had some health issues, but professionally, it spikes because you launched your first business. You're in your first, long-term job, right? Now at 35, maybe both lines began to climb because of all you went through at 25, you've invested in your healing and built some boundaries, right? And then because you've learned from the age of 25 working at jobs, maybe you became familiar about what you like, what you want to do. Maybe you started your business and you've had time to really learn the kinks and the quirks and really get settled into your groove and things, right? So at 35, again, you invested in your healing, you built better personal boundaries, and then also your business has scaled because of that inner work and because you've learned lessons along the way of your professional career that you've applied into your business. And so this exercise shows you, right? Your healing and your leadership are not separate journeys. They rise and they fall together. Okay? One will always impact the other, always. But you know what? It's not for me to say it and you just believe it. I really encourage you to do the exercise. And then again, once you join a live session with me, I would love for us to do it, together so that it could really resonate in ways, because I can't get into it all in this video, but really peeling back the layers on this. All right. So again, the takeaway, right? Again, this video is inspired by the wellness and spiritual visionary. So it's important for us to remember that healing is not a side project. Recovery, rejuvenation, restoration is not a side project. It's the foundation of a really good, solid legacy. And so, an assignment, right, for this week, I'll challenge you is to map your lifeline. And I want you to identify one repeating pattern and then decide how you're going to respond differently this time in life and in business. Because remember, what you're here to build, your legacy, is not just only about what you're here to build. Let me be clear. I'm going to say this again. Your legacy isn't just about what you're here to build. It's how whole you remain while building it. Go back to that example. And I got to keep it real with y'all. I have looked at so many of who I would call people who inspired me to be a great person, right? A great leader, to have a major impact on my community. And at the same time, what discouraged me from stepping fully into it was the sacrifice I saw that um that they I saw their sacrifices. Rather, it was you was out here in the community being great for everybody in the world, but when it came to your household, you were absent. Um, you are out here being a great leader for the world, and it cost you your health. So now you've done all this work and built up the world and the community, and now you're living in the world that you helped improve, but because your health has declined, you can't really enjoy it fully. Witnessing people or, those great leaders from the past who were so passionate about seeking change, it literally cost them their life. When someone else is watching us as leaders, we also should consider the messages or the meanings that could be attached to it if we're not living and communicating in a way that says, hey, while you are out here being the best version of yourself and helping other people, don't lose yourself, right? I have to say this other thing too. There are so many great leaders who've done great things, and because they were so involved in the present moment, which I get it, right? And then when they're no longer around, the legacy that could have continued didn't, because either that next generation was discouraged or they wasn't trained up enough. Now that's a whole other video, but my point is, all right, let's create a culture where we are whole while we are creating our legacy. Let's create a culture where we're not sending messages, or it doesn't look like in order to be great, I have to sacrifice my well-being or my family or whatever that is, right? Integration is key. I know we hear about work-life balance, and that is a great approach to start off with. And at the same time, work-life balance can communicate to some that you have to sacrifice something somewhere. Whereas if work and life is integrated, where's the sacrifice? There may be shifts. There may even be something called compromise, but sacrifice? So if you want to go deeper, okay, I invite y'all to the private circles, to the private gatherings where we will take tools like the Lifeline and integrate them together in community. Because again, transformation doesn't just happen in information, it happens in practice, it happens in presence, it happens in accountability. So, this has been Wellness Wednesday, y'all. I thank you so much for watching. I want you to stay aligned. I want you to stay empowered. And again, this is where we trade chaos for clarity, okay, and burnout for brilliance. So I will see y'all next week.